We got every single team's biggest X factor for the next season. Jonathan Kuminga's on the cover. Makes sense. Alright, so that's basically, before we even get into it, my prediction is there's going to be a lot of young players, young and upcoming players on this list. But let's figure it out. If you guys are new, consider hitting the subscribe button. Appreciate all my subscribers. Be sure to hit the like button. Let's get started. Alright, number one, Jalen Johnson for the Hawks. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of young players. And I like this. I really do. Because Jalen Johnson, I feel like could be a really, really good player. He came out of nowhere too. I feel like the first time I noticed Jalen Johnson might be nice was that playing game versus the Miami Heat like 2 years ago. And ever since then, he's just been solid. He went from 5.5 points to 16 points a game last season. And that was with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young and Bogdanovich on the team. And he shot 35.5% from three. Had 3.5 assists. I think his best ability as a player is being able to dunk the ball. You know, be that lob threat for Trae Young. And I think Clint Capella is kind of losing that lob threat ability that he used to have when he played with James Harden. Because I seen last year he missed a couple of lobs thrown by Trae Young in the clutch. And he's also able to stretch the ball. I mean, stretch the floor. And I think every, power forward in the league should be able to do that. So yeah, I agree with Jalen Johnson. Boston Celtics Xavier Tillman. I don't really know about this one. I like Xavier Tillman. I think he was solid on the Memphis Grizzlies. And we've seen that he was solid on the Celtics in the finals when they needed him. Is that an X factor? I don't know. Basically, they're just saying if Porzingis is injured, then Xavier Henry, oh my God. Xavier Tillman will have to step up. Okay, yeah, who else could it really be for the Celtics? Noah Clowney for the Brooklyn Nets. I like this one. I feel like they need to start developing their young talent. I don't even think he even played last year, bro, for real. I gotta watch me some Noah Clowney highlights. He was only 19 years old last year. They're saying he basically just played a lot of defense. I didn't really watch a lot of Nets games when Ben Simmons was injured. But I do want to see some Noah Clowney tape. He could stretch the floor. He could pop, and they're saying he could play some defense. So that's always valuable in the NBA. Hornets Trey Mann. I like this one. I really do like this one. Because Thunder fans were really high on Trey Mann. And then when he got traded to Charlotte, he looked pretty damn good. And he became the starter too with LaMelo Ball out. So this is an X factor because they're going to need him outside of LaMelo Ball to be solid, at least consistent. I think that's the one thing I'm looking for Trey Mann is consistency, because he puts up highlights consistently. But I want to see consistency in his game. After 28 games joining the Hornets, he averaged 12 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and shot 36% from 3. Yeah, it's not bad, but I think he could even be better, to be honest. Like, he could average more than 12 points. Bulls, Josh Giddey. Yeah, it's got to be Josh Giddey, right? Or Lonzo Ball. One of those two, in my opinion. It's just interesting to see how Josh Giddey is going to be playing as a point guard. And is he even going to play a point guard? Like, if Lonzo's back, who's going to start? I mean, they'll probably be slow with Lonzo. He'll probably come off the bench a little bit, right? I don't know. I really don't. But yeah, X Factor is probably Josh Giddey or even Matas Bazelis. But that's a rookie, so you can't really put them as an X Factor, can you? Or Zach LaVine. Or Kobe White. Anybody on the Bulls could be an X Factor, to be honest. Yeah, basically, we're just going to see how good Josh Giddey can be. He was drafted 6th overall, so we get to see his full potential now that he's going to be the starting point guard for the Chicago Bulls, most likely. Darius Garland for the Cleveland Cavaliers. We seen last year in the playoffs when Donovan Mitchell went down, they really needed Darius Garland, and I feel like he didn't really step up to the capabilities that he could reach. And they're saying he looked nothing like his former all-star self. Yeah, I agree, bro. He broke his jaw last year, and then it cost him a couple weeks. Damn, he had to get his jaw wired shut. I didn't even know that. But what I did know, the Cavs just suffered so many injuries last year. Like, I remember watching the Cavs last year, and there was like only a few games during the season where Darius and Donovan Mitchell played at the same time. So in my opinion, the X factor for the Cleveland Cavaliers is just both of these guys need to play consistently. That's it. Klay Thompson, Dallas Mavericks. This is 100%. I agree. And it's crazy because last night I actually just sat down and watched some old Klay Thompson games, including the 37-point quarter with the Warriors. And then I decided, hey, let me watch one of the current games. And to me, honestly, I know he had shooting slumps, but he still didn't seem that much different. Maybe his defense was a little bit different, but I understand why Klay was so frustrated last year. He had a bad shooting slump, but he was still in that shooting slump, shooting 37%, 38% from three. He's still a good 3-point shooter. Then he got replaced by a rookie, bro. You know, I would kind of be pissed off too. I think Klay Thompson is going to be ready next season. They were also saying during one of the broadcasts I was watching, it was a Clippers broadcast, and they were saying, you know, sometimes contract negotiations, a contract year could get in your head, and they're just saying they think Klay Thompson was in his head last year, and I agree, bro, especially with the pressure of a rookie, you know, getting a lot of minutes. You know, I feel like in the past, Klay Thompson was given more patience by the coaching staff when he was not shooting good, because he's always had games where he, you know, might have not been good for a little bit. He's always had shooting slumps because every shooter goes through it. But back in the day, everybody knew that's Klay Thompson. No way you bench him. And I think now, after the injuries, the age, and now you got a rookie coming up, I think the pressure of that, along with, you know, having to perform with contract in a contract year, it got to him. And I think the Warriors weren't as patient with him as they could be. And I think he's going to look for vengeance next year with the Dallas. Just how is he going to fit with that team? We'll see. Definitely the X-factor for the Dallas Mavericks. Denver Nuggets, Christian Brown. Like, who else could it be besides Russell Westbrook? Christian Brown 100% because they lose Caldwell Pope. This is the replacement. He's young, and everybody's saying he's ready. And in my opinion, I think Christian Brown is ready too. 100% agree. Last year, he shot 38% from three, but he only shot 2 threes a game. And I think a lot of Nuggets fans want to see him shoot more because I think sometimes he's a little hesitant on it. And he's going to be replacing probably one of the best shooters on the team in Caldwell Pope. And they're going to be expecting that and needing that from him. So it's going to be a role he's different, or he's getting new to. He's just got to be able to shoot that ball more than 2 times a game. But other than that, I think he's a great defender. He plays with a lot of energy, and he's an underrated slasher. Just got to shoot that ball. Biggest X-factor, 100%. But I also could argue Russell Westbrook. Like, I think he's going to get a lot more opportunity than he did with the Clippers. Like, he really, if you think about it, didn't get any opportunities with the Clippers last season. Sar Thompson for the Pistons. My big thing was him. If he's going to be the X-factor, it's going to be, can he shoot the ball, bro? Because he already might be one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Like, what I seen from him in year 1, his defense on the perimeter is elite, and he was guarding every single team's best player. But the problem was, especially in the first half of the season, he kept shooting the ball. Like, he doesn't stop, but he wasn't even getting close. There was a game versus the Pelicans where he was like 0 for 9 and just kept shooting it, and they had to take him out the game. So he's a liability when he's not able to shoot because he keeps shooting. Golden State Warriors, Jonathan Kuminga. It makes sense. It really does. But in my opinion, I don't even think the Warriors need to worry about Jonathan Kuminga. He's going to be solid. We've seen it towards the back half of last season. In my opinion, he was the second best scorer on the Warriors last season. And it's crazy because I was watching a November game from last season. It was the Clippers versus Warriors, right? Right when James Harden got traded. Kuminga, they said he was coming off a game where he only played like 6 minutes. So I kind of remember that Steve Kerr was not playing this guy at all. So the biggest X factor, in my opinion, for the Golden State Warriors is Steve Kerr. Just play. I think it could be Moses Moody or Buddy Hield. Kuminga, I feel like you know what you're going to get from Jonathan Kuminga. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if they want to take a step, it's got to be Jonathan Kuminga averaging at least like 25. They needed like a Jordan Poole type of year from Jonathan Kuminga. Bro, he averaged 16 points a game, but yeah, he only played 26 minutes. And he wasn't a full-time starter till halfway through the season. And then his per 36 averages were 22 points a game. So I think the expectations or what the Warriors need from him next year is 22 points a game. I said last year for the Thunder, if they want to win in the playoffs, J-Dub got to average 18. I don't think he did it. So I want to see Kuminga average 22 if the Warriors want a chance. Jabari Smith Jr. for the Houston Rockets. You could argue Jabari, but I think Jalen Green is a bigger X factor than Jabari Smith because Jalen Green can be that difference maker. Jabari Smith, I feel like, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I feel like he's already a solid player. He can get rebounds. He can stretch the floor. Sometimes he might be doing a little bit too much on the floor, but I think he knows his role. And I feel like you're knowing what you're getting with Jabari Smith. I don't know if he's necessarily a game changer like Jalen Green can be, but let's see what they got to say. They're saying that his leap would matter the most out of Jalen Green and Şengün and Reed Shepherd and Men Thompson. And they're saying because he's 6'11", he shot 36% from 3 on 5 attempts after only hitting 30% as a rookie. So they're saying that the improvement from his rookie season is something that can like be used as motivation, or not motivation. It could be used as hope for the Houston Rockets. So maybe he just, they think the ceiling on Jabari is so high that he could be the X factor. In my opinion, it's got to be Jalen Green. What do you guys think? Andrew Nembhard for the Pacers. I could argue Ben Mathurin, bro, because we've seen the Pacers lose in the Eastern Conference Finals without Ben Mathurin. I feel like Ben Mathurin staying healthy is the X factor for the Indiana Pacers, because in my opinion, he's probably their best scorer outside of Pascal Siakam. Not probably, he is. But let's see what they got to say about Andrew Nembhard. They're saying they basically gave him an extension, and then that just brings expectations with it. He averaged 15 points, 5.5 assists in the postseason. Damn. He shot 56%, 48% from 3. Damn. Yeah, he was hooping in the playoffs. Okay, they're saying that could make them trade Ben Mathurin. No. Ben Mathurin is the X factor. I'm sorry. Andrew Nembhard is solid. They're saying maybe the potential is super high because he got the contract extension and he had a really good playoffs. But bro, Ben Mathurin is still a really, really good player, and he's young too. I mean, so is Andrew Nembhard, but in my opinion, it's got to be Ben Mathurin. What do you guys think? Chris Dunn for the Clippers. I was just thinking about this the other day. They got him for Russell Westbrook. I don't necessarily think he's the X factor for the Clippers, but I think he's a great scrappy, great defending point guard in the backcourt. You don't even have to play point guard. He could just be in the backcourt. He could play the 2. But I think he's going to be needed like a Patrick Beverley role for the Clippers. I wouldn't necessarily say he's the X factor, but I think it's more of like he's a steal because they basically got him for Russell Westbrook. They didn't lose Westbrook for anything. He shot 30% from 3. Yeah. Wait. Okay, that was before he went to Utah. In Utah, he shot 47% from 3 and then shot 37% last season. Okay, so basically they're just saying, he's got a small sample size, but he's shown a lot of improvement when it comes to shooting the basketball, because when he got drafted, he was supposed to be really good. He was a high draft pick. In my opinion, I really like Chris Dunn. He played really good for Utah. I feel like he revived his career in Utah. What he used to be in Chicago, he wasn't that good, bro. So in my opinion, or was he? Yeah, I think he was in Chicago or Minnesota, one of the two. I wouldn't say he's the X factor for the Clippers, but I think he can be a big piece for them. Honestly, I don't even know who you put for the X factor. Maybe Zubats. He can be an X factor, like depending on how good Harden can make him. But I think James Harden got to be the X factor. I know he's like the star of the team. He's got to be the X factor because I need to see James Harden go back to at least 16 attempts a game. Because last season's like 11 attempts a game was not good enough to help them win. And now he's got the full control of the offense with a whole bunch of role players around him. It's time. I think Harden is the biggest X factor for the Clippers. Gabe Vincent for the Lakers. I'm not mad at it. I mean, but I'm still not banking all my hope on the Lakers' success on Gabe Vincent. Like, I'm not. I gave that up a long time ago because last season we did have high hopes for him. We had to drop Dennis Schroeder for Gabe Vincent. A lot of Lakers fans were excited about that because of what he did with the Miami Heat in the playoffs. But then the injury just bad all year. He finally came back and then he just wasn't ready. Had to have surgery and then came back for the playoffs and was missing shots. He did show some flashes, I think, in that Nuggets series where, we needed something. And he was like the one role player that gave us something for like 3 seconds. But I'm not banking all of my hope on Gabe Vincent. I'm really not. 11 appearances is so crazy. He only played 11 games. I feel like the greatest X factor for the Lakers is going to be JJ Redick. It's our coach. That's crazy. Are we allowed to do that? The biggest X factor for the Lakers is JJ Redick. All right, Grizzlies, Zach Edey. It's got to be Zach Edey, right? Or John Morant. But John Morant is I guess he can't really put a star as an X factor, so I'm not mad at Zach Edey. How is he going to fit with this team? A lot of people is going to say, how's he going to fit in the NBA? Well, the Summer League, he looked like, hey, I could fit. Just give me the ball in the post. I could set screens. I could roll. I could finish. I could get offensive rebounds. I could do everything a big man is supposed to do. He just can't shoot the ball. And is that going to work with the Memphis Grizzlies? I think, yeah, they got another big man that can shoot the ball in Jaren Jackson Jr. So it's going to open up that low post for him. And he's going to be able to set big body screens and roll with Ja. So, yes, he is the biggest X factor. I think the biggest X factor, though, is whether or not he could stay healthy and consistently play. They're saying if he could survive pick and roll defense, he'll have a chance to do what Steven Adams did. Yeah, I think he's the best Steven Adams replacement you could possibly get with a higher ceiling for the Memphis Grizzlies. Khalil Ware for the Miami Heat. Yeah, I'm not mad at this. A lot of Heat fans are very excited. He could stretch the floor. I think that's the biggest thing about Ware is he could shoot the ball. And he's tall and he's athletic. So anytime you could do that as a center, it's exciting. It's just going to be, I think the Heat are good at drafting. We've seen they got Jaime Jaquez Jr. last year. They got Jovic. They're developing young talent. So I think it's interesting to see what the Heat are doing. And I think they're always going to be doing a good job developing because they have great coaching staff and everything. Bro, he averaged 17 and 8 in the summer league with almost 2 blocks a game. Shot 67%. So he looked really good in the summer league. He's going to be playing behind Bam. And I think they needed a backup big because Thomas Bryant was not it. So, yeah, that is, I could say, the biggest X factor. But also, I would argue Jovic could be the biggest X factor for the Heat, too, because we want to see the jump with him, too, as well. Gary Trent Jr. for the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm not mad at it. They basically replaced him with Malik Beasley. And he's back with Dame. Remember, bro, if you think back, the Blazers had Dame and Gary Trent Jr. And Gary Trent Jr. was one of the best scorers in the league at that time. Like, he was one of the most underrated scorers. So we'll see that backcourt. I think it's going to work a lot better because we've seen Malik Beasley kind of struggle with the Lakers. He went and played with Dame and Giannis and just played a lot better. So I think playing with Dame and Giannis as a shooter is going to unlock your game a lot more. And I think Gary Trent Jr. is a better player than Malik Beasley. So, yeah, I could say he is the biggest X factor for the Bucks. I'm not mad at it. Rob Dillingham for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yeah, okay. But I think it's tough to put a rookie as the biggest X factor. Because I'm not going to lie, I don't have high expectations for Rob just because I feel like he's kind of a raw prospect. I know he has a really high ceiling, but I'm not going to just be like, oh, I need to see a lot from him in order for the Timberwolves to be good because they've already proven they're good without him. I think he just needs to develop. I don't think there's any rush on him. I don't know about Rob being the biggest X factor, but let's see what they say. Basically, they're saying they didn't have a backup point guard last year. Is Rob going to be able to do it? Alexander Walker kind of struggled last year, so I can say it. But honestly, I would put Alexander Walker as the damn X factor because he needs to play better. Not a rookie. You can't have high expectations for a rookie, or can you? Because he was drafted pretty high and he was pretty damn good in college. Pelicans, Jordan Hawkins. Not mad at it. I would put Zion, but I guess they're not really putting, star players. Yeah, Jordan Hawkins, I want to see elite because in the summer league, bro, they built the team around him. He's a great shooter. I like J-Hawk. Kind of reminds me like a Ray Allen. But also I would argue Trey Murphy could be an X factor. But I think because they lost, Najee Marshall is going to open up some minutes for J-Hawk and year 2 for him, It's the ability to run off screens and open everything else up for the team. Okay, Jayhawk. They're saying they ran ghost screens for Zion. Wow, imagine Zion, primary ball handler, and then Jayhawk coming up to set a ghost screen. Because he can't set a big screen. He get injured if he tries to set a screen. But yeah, ghost screens with Jayhawk. Just use him as a shooter. I want to see the Pelicans use him as a shooter more. Because last season, they didn't really play him that much. I think maybe towards the middle half of the season, they started giving him some more minutes. So I think the biggest X factor when it comes to Jayhawk is how many minutes he could get and how can he stay on the floor, because he is a smaller frame type of dude. Mitchell Robinson for the Knicks. Bro, I forget they even have him. So yeah, you could say, I think because they lost Isaiah Hartenstein, they're going to need, Mitchell Robinson. They're saying he's their 8th best player. That's crazy. Yeah, they're saying Isaiah Hartenstein lost, so it's time for Mitchell Robinson to step up. Yeah. But I feel like he's a pretty good player. It's just, there's always that time in the year where it's just like he gets injured and then he gets benched and then he never comes back. I mean, he comes back, but then he's on the bench playing like a 6-man role. Now he is the only big man on that team for real. Like, who else is on the Knicks? I really don't know when it comes to center position. So yeah, Mitchell Robinson. Okay. J-Dub for the Thunder. I feel like, yeah, I know I did say it last year, you know, that they needed J-Dub to score 18 points a game if they wanted to win because he was the second best scorer outside of SGA. But I would argue Chet could also be the X-factor too. But yeah, I'm not mad at it. J-Dub, okay. Thunder just going to be pretty damn good. My, you know, fear about the Thunder, not the fear, but like, what the hell is the starting lineup going to be? You know, like, is Lou Dort going to the bench? But he's a great defender. He can't. Is Alex Caruso going to the bench? He's a great defender. He can't. You know, Isaiah Hartenstein, is he going to start? Or Chet? Are they going to both play? But then, whoa, where does J-Dub go? Because he plays the 4. It's just a big thing. They have so much great talent. Where is J-Dub going to play? You can say Isaiah's going to come off the bench, but what about J. Will, you know? So yeah, that's my biggest thing about the Thunder is lineup. So I would say the biggest X factor for them is the coach. Jonathan Isaac for the Orlando Magic. I feel like they always put him as the X factor, but I feel like we know what we're getting with him. I don't know if he's necessarily the X factor. I think it could be KCP. I think it's going to be Caldwell Pope because we've seen what the team could do with Isaac last year. They were playing him at center some of the times. He's a very versatile player because he could also stretch the floor. But they just got a new player in Caldwell Pope. They added pieces, and they're going to need shooting. I think the biggest X factor for the Orlando Magic is going to be Kentavious Caldwell Pope. 76ers Caleb Martin. I forgot they got Caleb Martin. Man, they got a lot of great talent on this team outside of PG, Tyrese, and Joel Embiid. But I think the biggest X factor got to be Paul George. I think the reason they put Caleb Martin is just going to see, okay, you know, he had that great playoff run. We want to see him duplicate that again, and we haven't really seen it yet. I mean, he wasn't really bad for the Heat last year. He was nowhere near what he did in that Boston series. So I guess that's why they're saying the biggest X factor. I'd say it's Paul George. Just see how the hell is Paul George going to fit with the team. Royce O'Neal for the Phoenix Suns. Nah. I mean, they're going to need a lot from him on the defense end, but I feel like they could go with a young rookie. Like, they could go Ryan Dunn as the X factor for the Phoenix Suns, or Tyus Jones can be another X factor. I feel like we know what we're going to get with Royce. You know, he's going to be that catch and shoot dude. He's going to hit threes if he's open. He's going to make the right reads on offense, and then defense, he's going to play good and be scrappy. We know what we're going to get with Royce. I feel like the X factor's got to be Tyus Jones, or maybe Ryan Dunn as a rookie, you know, how much minutes he could get. Scoot, yeah, not even an argument here, bro. X factor for the Blazers. And when I think of X factor, I just think of if he plays good, the whole team changes, right? The whole team changes. Scoot, this is your year. You got the keys to the driver's seat. If you play good, the whole team changes. Keon Ellis, if he plays good, the whole team changes. Yeah, he's going to be that role player now that they have a whole bunch of stars, because we've seen that is the danger of getting a star-studded lineup. You know, the 3-star thing. We've seen it kind of implode on certain teams, Lakers, because you need that scrappy role player who's going to play defense, space the floor, not complain about not getting the ball, and when he does get the ball, he's going to be very efficient with it. And I think that is Keon Ellis, and I think we've seen a lot of high potential from him. I think, yeah, could be biggest X factor, 100%. Also, now we know what we're going to get with DeRozan. Yeah, it's got to be Keon Ellis, right? Maybe Keegan Murray. Jeremy Sohan for the San Antonio Spurs. I would argue it would be Devin Vassell over Jeremy Sohan, because I feel like you know where we're getting with Jeremy Sohan. I mean, he does have those good games where when he's good, the team is different. Like, he has those games where it's like, damn, he dropped 30 tonight. But I guess that could make him X factor. But I would definitely go Devin Vassell because he's a bigger part of the offense and he's a little bit more inconsistent. So I think if Devin Vassell is playing really, really good, the whole team changes. But same with Jeremy. I'm not mad at Jeremy. I would just go Devin Vassell. Grady Dick for the Raptors. Yeah. It's got to be. Who else would it be? Not mad at Grady Dick. I think it's time for him to develop too. And he looked like he was pretty damn good towards the back half of last season. My goodness, this video is at 24 minutes. Let's get through this. Taylor Hendricks for the Utah Jazz. Yeah, he got embarrassed a lot last year. Like, he was consistently getting his ankles broken, dunked on, but he stays strong. I think Taylor's going to be a solid player. I don't know about an X factor though. Not mad at it. I think Cody Williams could be an X-factor more than Taylor Hendricks. And last but not least, Coulibaly for the Wizards. Yeah. I want to see what... I don't know. I don't really have that high of hopes for Coulibaly. I think he's a solid player, but I think he got drafted really high only because he was teammates with Wemby. I still like Coulibaly. He's a great defender. He's a great finisher at the rim. He can shoot the ball. Yeah. But that's going to be it. Every team's biggest X-factor. This video took a lot longer than I thought it did. But I mean, so was the last one. I just like to ramble when I'm looking at these lists, don't I? Let me know if you guys agree or disagree and who is the biggest X-factor of your team down below in the comments, man. Be sure to hit the like button. Appreciate every single person for hitting that subscribe button. Where we at? 13,251. Can we get to 15K before the season starts? Who knows? I needed to start though because my goodness, these offseason takes are driving me crazy.